धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेता
ओम सहनं भवतु सहनं भुनक्तु सह वीर्यै करवावहै तेजस्विनाधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Let us sit down and study together. Through discussion, we sharpen each other's intellect. May we not bear any ill will towards each other. Peace, peace, peace. Let peace prevail.
So, Amitabh, this is the perfect start because Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. This chapter 6, I think the piece that we are going to cover from verse 1 to 32 is all about Shanti, all about basically Dhyan or meditation. So this is, some people call it Dhyan Yoga. And for, remembrance sake, to how to remember it easily, some people also say, or I love this expression, Dhyan to Shyam. So it starts with what is yoga, what is Dhyan, and ultimately it comes to, you become one with me, that's Shyam, Krishna. And we will cover that portion slowly, but I love, the way it starts. It's a very basic definition of yogi. Anashritam karma phalam. Somebody who is not looking for karma phal. Anashritam, it's like uska asara leke nahi baitha, anashritam. So they are not looking for the fruits of the result. That's how it, karya karma karoti. Yeah. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnirna chakriya. So basically, he's saying that it's not just by giving up some activities that you become a yogi. You have to have a positive, like aspect to that. It's not just by giving up and changing your clothes. He doesn't talk about changing clothes, but it's not just the appearance or just giving up something. What you have to do is non-attachment to the fruits of action, anashritam, So that's how he defines yogi. That craving or that desire or that force, like Raja's force, is kind of somehow that all has to mellow down and he is the true yogi. So that is, you start with the definition of a true yogi.
Well, in the previous chapter, he did talk about what is sannyas and what is yogic action.
Yeah.
Mentioned mostly karma yogic action.
Right.
Karma
yoga and karma
yogi.
sannyas. Yeah.
Yeah. Yogi who gets his liberation through the action. Now, the person who does renunciation of all actions, he is the sannyasi. He is the renunciator. And the reason he does that, because he has that knowledge and all the actions emanate from our traits, gunas. So he has that knowledge, and from there, he doesn't do any mundane work other than just sustaining himself, and then concentrates on his true self or the self-knowledge. He doesn't do the action. So this is sannyas. But it is a difficult path to choose for most of us who are in this world. It is much easier for us to take the path of action because we have to live in this earth, this relative world.
Yeah.
And when we live, we should follow certain parameters through which we understand who we are, what is our purpose, and through that we get the liberation. Now, liberation is the end point of both of them, but the paths are a little different, One is more practical, the other one a little bit esoteric. Okay, the person who takes up sannyas is a little bit esoteric for people like us who are in this world and live in this relative world. So
Yeah. So, but this the first verse applies to both. He doesn't
Yes.
discriminate. He says karma phal.
Basically, it is a non-attached and non-desire state.
Yeah.
Okay. He sees the things as it is without projecting his own thoughts over it. That's all.
Yeah. So that's how he starts. But then he talks about more definition. Sankalp ka tyag. The like it's like you still do the action. Let the action happen through you. You are the doer. That part, that sankalp or that feeling has to go as well. I really love this verse, the five. I mean, he does define more about who yogi is, but five is something that really hit me. Basically, he's saying that you choose your own destiny. You can bring yourself up, or you can bring yourself down, and it's all you. I mean, he's saying you are responsible for your doing good or doing bad. And it all depends upon how what kind of choices you make, what decisions you take. And somebody who is kind of non-attached, who is not so much clinging on to the fruit of action, those people do themselves good. And those people who are only driven by desire, that we talked in the third chapter, they may end up hurting themselves. So this ultimate responsibility is yours. Uddhera tatmanatmanam vasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhur. You are your own friend. Atmaiva hipuratmana. You are your own enemy. So both is you. Many times we say, I am doing this thing bad because of Amitav Ghosh. It's like we have this tendency to put this, like my failure is because of XYZ.
That is right. And it's a common thing. Often we say the guru can show the path, but ultimately we have to walk the path.
Yeah, didn't he say apo dhipo bhava?
Yes, you be your own guiding light.
Yeah.
Yep. So the point is we have to act accordingly with this knowledge, and it is in our hand whether we really make a mess out of it or we get enlightened through it.
Yeah, I mean, he says ripu means enemy.
Yes.
You can be your own enemy.
Exactly. If we have those certain traits predominating, ego desire composites working with us, we become our own enemies.
Yeah.
Uncontrolled emotions. From verse 2
Yeah.
to verse 8 and 9, those are very important things he mentions. Some
Yeah.
very important principles are enunciated there.
Yeah. So this, the verse 5 is the one we are talking about.
That's
that
right.
you can be your own enemy. And I mean, this takes away a lot of us putting blames on something else, the situation or the system or the country, sometimes, the prime minister and the president. So we can put all the blame on someone else for who we are or who I am.
Exactly.
But Krishna is saying, no, it's you. You are your friend, you can be your enemy. And the story you said about Buddha, I mean, from my memory, I think it was when he was leaving. I mean, he was going on away, I mean, on his journey beyond body.
Those were his last words.
Yeah, so those were his people went to say, what will happen to us?
That's right.
That's when he said, Apo Dipo Bhava. And that's a great message. And I think Krishna is very bluntly giving that same message here. Uh, and then, of course, he said, Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samahita. Basically, he's saying, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu, that, when you are kind of even keel, as you said before, right? When you become even keel, and you have won your kind of desires and indriyas, then you can be a yogi. I mean, here yogi is like a steady person or similar to a Sthitaprajna, somewhere there. And then he goes on to say, how to do it. And so the other one, which really I've been struggling, Amitabh, to get a handle of it, is the verse 9. When he says that, whether it is friend, whether it is enemy, whether it is somebody dear, whether somebody in the middle, somebody, related to you, brothers, whoever it is, can you have a sambhav? Samabuddhir vishishyate. So this is mind-boggling. Because yes, it's easy to say, and in ideal situation, you have, you see everybody, like equanimity or equal or something, but we love to judge people, right?
Of course. One of the cognitive function as we evolved is pattern recognition.
Right.
Okay. And if we had some experiences, good or bad, certain events, okay, makes us think like that in that perspective. Like I always think about this Yuval Noah Harari, I think his name. He's an Israeli writer, and he talks about cognitive evolution. Now, if the ancient Homo sapiens, they are walking through a meadows or savanna, and they see some rustling in the tall grass, okay, he may think that it may be a saber-tooth tiger. So he, first of all, thinks the worst condition that can happen. If he had a previous good experiences, he will think that in a positive manner. So looking at any event, how we do it, one of the major part of our perception is conditioning through past experience or learning. Okay, which can be true, but it may not be true. We have to think about it may not be true as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So being in present and thinking that so that you can climb up a tree and then watch that there is a rustle in the grass before you approach it, that's a better approach because you are looking at the situation itself, not relying on the past, not relying in the future, what can happen, bad happen. So this is what is important. Now, what happens, as you said about the relatives and close ones, because we are conditioned about attachment with the close relatives, our children, our all relatives and everything, it is difficult for us to get over that attachment and look at it as they are in person. That's a difficult one, and it is because our strongest attachment to those people. So although he says here to be equanimity, it is a tough one.
But Amitabh, I'm more worried about the other people. Your friends, your relatives, and yes, they can harm you, but so the whole thing is that Gita is being said in the middle of the war. And Krishna lives every word he says. It's not that he's teaching you, but it doesn't apply to you. What if an enemy is coming to you? And he's saying, Ripu, I mean, it's like, Yeah,
If
so
you listen to
enemy
me,
coming to you, approaching you, he wants to kill you, and you have a sambhav with him. How does it work? I mean, how does it work in real life? And how does Krishna say that have sambhav?
in this particular instance, these people are Arjun's cousins, teachers,
Yeah.
all those things. Okay, all right. Normally, he has the attachment.
Yeah.
However, they are basically individuals rather than his relatives. They are individual first, and secondly, they have taken the side of evil.
Yeah.
So even though they are his close relatives, and or he had close relationship with them, sometimes respectable relationship, but yet they have taken the wrong side. So they are now judged as an individual.
So let me, I just recount the story of Krishna. It's like so Krishna says, okay, he will go to negotiate with Gaurav on behalf of Pandav. And he says he will go alone. I think there must have been some objection in the Pandav camp because he is going alone, and there is possibility they might capture him, or it's like put him in jail. That possibility always existed. But Krishna insists he will go alone. To me, Krishna doesn't do anything unprepared. So mentally, he must have been prepared as well. So he goes. So in his Samdarshi principle, for him, Arjun and Duryodhan is the same. So he goes there, and indeed, Duryodhan tries to arrest him. But Krishna was kind of prepared from what happened. The story is, of course, maybe dramatized, but Duryodhan is not able to arrest him. He gets intimidated. So the whole point is that, yes, you see Duryodhan and Arjun similar, your perspective. But Krishna also can see what their perspective is. What Duryodhan perspective is also, in his clear sight. And he responds to Duryodhan's approach rather than he changes the view about Duryodhan.
Yeah. And I think Krishna's point is he knows about his uh, divine power. That's number one, which is much better than any physical power and anything like that. And he has gone there with a proposal or a treaty of reconciliation,
Yeah.
which is very much for sustaining the order.
Yeah.
However, Duryodhan takes the side of the evil. It becomes it's a choice. It's a question is Samabhav doesn't mean that if somebody is doing a evil, you would not stop, because the world order is a lot
So
more.
you respond, you take action, but you can still have the same sambhav for both. But if the
Yes,
other, so my feeling is, Amitabh, that once you become sambhav, you are not carrying a lot of baggage inside. The baggage of judgment and what stories back your judgment. You simply are an empty vessel or empty come here, and then you can clearly see what the other person's motives are, and you respond appropriately.
that's right.
So sambhav doesn't mean that you don't respond to someone's,
I
but you
mean,
can still have the sambhav, so
it's like doing a duty. Okay, what has to be done? Like we learned in quality management, it's not the person which is important. You have to further the process so that the result is okay. All right. A person is only one little pawn in this whole thing. So you do not develop any hatred or anger towards that person.
yeah.
Okay. But it doesn't mean that you do not stop him from doing evil.
I think that's the key, what you said. That what you are doing is, of course, his intentions you are responding to, but you are not responding to their kind of, inside person, right? I mean, that's what, yeah.
Basically, what we call personal grudge. We don't have the personal. That's all.
This number 9 is it gets more and more interesting to me, because many times you start saying that, it's like, why is Krishna with Arjun? Why is he not with somebody else? Does he favor Arjun? Or it is because Arjun is the one that approaches him with that kind of attitude, humility, caliber, and what he can do.
And because Arjun is not on the evil side, so he uses Arjun as an agent in this whole situation.
Yeah.
Okay. And his job is to make Arjun think clearly and get involved in the action.
If you go beyond the role and behavior, everybody is the same, but then you have to respond to their roles and their behaviors appropriately.
Yes, if they are harming the whole system, yes, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to, but without any personal grudge. So what I learned in the quality management, the person who has made a mess, if they are taken care of with compassion, okay, they may become your great asset too.
No, I think you made a very good point. Quality management, can you, take action without bias?
Exactly.
Yeah, without personal bias. The same with, when we have, I was thinking about, say, patients, when they come to us, and as a patient, not as a person, or even as a person, we don't discriminate. Everyone comes and we see them. So it is kind of somehow, yes, you do develop relationship with someone who is coming, it's like for years to you. You do get to the human side of their thing, but still you treat them all kind of equally, and to a large extent with some bhav. Although, it's like we are creature of this judgment, So I think we have to be cautious or conscious that doesn't come into our decision making.
Yes. A classic example, since you talked about patients,
Yeah.
there are patients who have got physical ailment,
Yeah.
but it is propagated by their emotional problem too.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because they have a emotional problem, we take care of the physical illness, but just because they have some kind of a mental problem or emotional problem, we do not belittle them. We understand that this is a composite part of the disease, so we
Yeah.
have to take care of this too. So we gave a consult to psychiatrist or something like that. Bottom line is you are looking at the process rather than the individual and holding any grudge or any negative feeling towards them.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, that's an important distinction, because probably 9, 6, 9 is one of the hardest verse to practice if you take it literally. But you have to, because in being somehow, you're not going to expose yourself to dangers, right?
This is what I always say. Samabhav or equanimity does not mean passivity.
Yeah.
I have mentioned that before.
Yeah,
It
you have
doesn't
mentioned
mean
it, but it doesn't mean that you become judgmental either, right? So,
that's right.
yeah.
Okay. Yes. You do not get into passivity from your point of view, and you
Yeah.
don't become judgmental of that person so that
Yeah.
you stamp them they are bad or evil right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So you don't do that. But you
So,
have to look at the process and you have to make sure that the process goes right.
yeah.
That's all.
So no, I feel complete about this 6-9 now, after our discussion, and that yes, it is a great quality to have, great state of mind to have. But how do you get there? And that is what Krishna now talks, right? So he first
Exactly.
describes all these, criteria, or what is what does yogi look like, or what does a steady person look like, or what do you want to achieve, and then he gets into how to do it in great detail.
Talk
First,
about the theoretical part up till now. Now
yeah,
he says, how do you channel your mind to totally focused?
yeah.
Okay. And then he talks about different procedures.
Yogi
Okay, which
yujit satat matmanam rahasya sthata ekaki yat chittatma nirashir parigraha. Your man, so you put your man, control, that we talked about earlier, chapters as well, that you have to control your man and indriyas, which is the sense organs. That discipline has to happen. That is a kind of prerequisite for, meditation. And at least you try that. And then, you find a good place, ekant, ekant, ekaki, yata chittatma. So you do find a quiet place. But here, I love this thing, and I have been doing this practice, and I know you have been doing it in your own form, is, it's being silent. So when you are silent, what are you doing? I mean, many people say, watch your breathing or watch your thoughts or be, but to me, the best practice I found, Amitav, is you become non-attached to the sound that is around you, like the airplane flying or the car driving or wind blowing, or it's like if you are near the ocean, waves crashing. You just are watching the sound, but you are non-attached. And then you are non-attached to the thoughts that are going around in your head. Let it move around, but you just stay non-attached. Don't, thinking of something, that is where everything starts, right? Dhyayato vishayan punsa. So every time a thought comes to me nowadays, I think of dhyayato vishayan punsa. That if I, stop it here, it stops here. But if I want to do something, then I go and let it develop attachment, let it become a calm. So it's like non-attached attachment is what you are doing. You are still non-attached, but you attach yourself to do it. So basically, non-attachment with your thoughts, non-attachment with your emotions, even non-attached with your breathing. Breathing also, let it happen. So this is where what he's talking about here, that ekaki, find a quiet place and be ready for this thing. Shuchau deshe. Shuchau deshe means, the place should be clean. Pratisthasya sthira masamatma atmanah natyuchitram nati nicham. Not too high, not too low. Somewhere in the middle, right? Chaila Jin Kushottaram. So this is like 3 layers. So on the bottom is Kush, then there is uh, Mrigchal, and then there is a cloth on top. So this basically is, to me, and Osho used to say that it's a non-conducting surface that you want to sit on. Surface that doesn't drain your energy, because you are going to create energy when you meditate. So this is very particular about it. Ekaki yata chittatma shuchau deshe pratisthasya. So then the next one he said, tatrai kagram manah kritva. Then you focus your mind. Yata chittendriya yakriya. And indriyo ki kriyao, the indriyas and, the sense organs and what they want to do or they do, you control those two things again, and then focus. Tatra ekagram mana kritva, ekagra. And then he says practice this yoga. So it's just by sitting there, with your cross-legged position is not going to do it. You have to practice. So what is the posture? It discusses the posture. Samam kaya shirogrivam. It's like your neck and, like
All in a straight line.
back should be a straight line. Dharayanna chalam sthira. Keep it, sthir. Sampraksha nasikagram. Look at your tip of the nose. Buddhists also talk about looking there in their Vipassana meditation. Some of them, not all of them. Swam dishes chand valokayan. And don't, look around. So just keep your eyes focused there. So everything is going towards the focus. One focus, indriyas under control, and then you are sitting straight. And that also, again, the explanation is the gravity has the least effect on when you are straight. So that's one of the reasons to be Prashantatma. And then he talks about brahmacharya. So brahmacharya has been important factor at least in those days. Of course, it was one of the biggest factor. But even now, one of the ways to discharge lots of energy is ejaculation. So he mentions that brahmacharya is important. Manah sanjamya machito yukta asit matpara. So then he now comes that you can focus on me, think of me and focus on Krishna or focus on Brahman. So you can have somebody to focus on if that is one of the things, because sometimes if you are alone, you and everywhere the mind is going, it is better to have some kind of personality that you can focus on. So that's what he talks about. He goes in detail about this thing very much so.
Basically, this whole thing is how to concentrate and control the mind. Now, the posture or concentration of the tip of nose or control of the breathing, all these things, is basically a focusing technique.
It's a
How
technique.
you,
No question, it's a technique or
it's a
technology.
focusing technique.
And there are
But
many techniques, but this
yes,
technique is what Krishna described.
yes.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that these are time-tested techniques.
Yeah.
It is relatively easier to done for the people who are getting into meditation. Okay. But at the end point, although you have got all your posture, your seat and all those things, so that you don't get diverted, your concentration is not disturbed, your mind is concentrated, and then you focus on who you are, what's the relationship of you, Atman and Brahman and all those things, okay? And then gradually you elevate yourself to that particular point, which is the real meditation.
Yeah.
So,
And practice, right?
practice, yes.
Yeah.
Now, this kind of practice that is suggested, it's a time-tested methodology in Hindu shastras or the Hindu scripture. Okay. There are other things which is like in Christianity, they have this deep contemplation. Deep contemplation they do, where they also go to a calm area, no disturbances, comfortable place, and then they get into deep concentration and deep meditation, contemplation. Bottom line is, ultimately, it is unhindered deep contemplation.
Yeah. For me, it is energy creation or energy contemplation, conservation. And I suppose whenever you are quiet, you are conserving energy. It doesn't matter which technique you are doing. And then that grows on you, and then you have those experience. But he also talks about food. Nyatyas na tastu yogosti na chaikantam manashrata na chati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva arjuna. So, he's saying, na bahut khale wala, you don't eat too much, and neither you are kind of so hungry that you are
Hungry.
emaciated, or you sleep too much, or you keep awake all the time. So he's saying, follow the middle path for that. Yukta
Yes.
hara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu. So this is yukta word, it's like the right chesta or the right food, yukta swapna vabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So, it's like we in Buddhist they call right mindfulness, right? So here the word is yukta, I think, which is very similar. Yada vinayatam chittamatmanye vavatistate. So now, this is the 18th verse, which is the last for this meditation is from 10th verse to 18th. He talks about this meditation, and, it's like you have to kind of focus and be with yourself and practice it.
Yeah,
Basically,
basically, these are these particular sloks, verses indicate the methodology to concentrate and into deep contemplation, meditation.
which I think, and that brings me to the point where I say Gita is a guided meditation. And even, it's like every place we are finding this. When we talked about yagya, there were so many techniques there, which I think, to be honest, we don't understand that much as we can understand this one. We try to understand, we have kind of broken the shackles of not understanding, but kind of diving into the mystery of yagya. But here he's very clear, very succinct, very stepwise here. And the one I like, the comparison, yatha deepo nivatastho. Like when there is no wind blowing and a diya or they say candle, the flame is very steady. That's how you become when all the storm inside you is not there. So
Exactly. It is the unflickering flame of a earthenware light, and in a dark place.
yeah,
And in this regard, if I may digress a little bit, you will see that in the many Hindu temples, that there is a room which is absolutely darkened, and there is a earthenware lamp, okay, which is lit, and the flame is unflickering because there is no air current in that room.
yeah.
Okay. So basically, that's what it means. Okay, that's what it's significant. The state of the yogi. In Mandukya Upanishad, that is the pragya state.
No,
So
I'm
this,
glad you
this
mentioned that. Sometimes we have these little temples, in our old kind of homes or even in big temples, the garbhagriha, garbhagriha, it doesn't have a lot of exposure. And
that's right.
one of the explanation was that, the energy field that is there, you don't want it to be dissipating all around. So that's why Garbhagriha or little temples in houses had this, it's like,
I taken back to our family shrine where this was lightened every dusk,
yeah,
and the lamp will burn till about midnight, and then it extinguishes itself.
yeah,
And as I passed by that family shrine, to my own room to study, that had such a peaceful effect on my mind before
Yeah.
studying.
I
And
mean,
I
the
just,
vibrations, I mean, you could feel the vibrations, right?
yes, you could feel that.
Yeah.
Only thing, you have to be very, very observant about it. If we are not observant, it passes just by. And
Yeah, if you are full inside yourself, then
and I remember the effect it had on me.
yeah.
I didn't understand the unflickering flame of the lamp at that time. But when I read Gita before and I came to this verse,
Yeah, this verse is,
it,
yeah,
this metaphor is just excellent.
yeah, this metaphor, yeah. Yatha deepo nivatastho, nyangate sopamas smrita, yogina yatta chittasya. So that's the same way, the chitta of the yogi.
That's
Yunjato yogamatmana. Oh, this is
through these steps of meditation
yeah,
or through deep contemplation,
yeah,
your mind is absolutely still, just like the unflickering flame in a dark room. There is no other factors to sway it.
yeah. I mean, then he goes on to describe more of those. Yatro
Yes.
paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya. Yatra chaivatmana manam pashyanyatmani dushyati. You have to, I mean, here also he talks about a little practice, that you will get there, your dhyan will get deeper and deeper, and you will be able to see things that you have never seen before. See mean pashyati. So it's interesting that many of these things they don't say you will understand. They say pashyati. Darshan, like in our philosophy, is called darshan sastra, as if you are face to face with something. So the same way, some of these things they talk as if it's not necessarily in the brain. It's like it's a function of something like atma darshan or something like I meet you. So when I meet you, I see you, I see your body language. I mean, the whole, surrounding, the vibration, if I could see your aura, I could see that. But it's more like when you get into meditation, it's more of a total experience, so the way they describe is that way.
We will see in subsequent verses from 20 to 25 or 26,
Yeah.
he tells about what are the features, okay, and how the yogi does it. And
Yeah.
he summarizes it very, very nicely.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's like on to the same things like dukh and sukh, become kind of meaningless to a person like that. Of course, yes, if there is dukh, there is dukh, there is sukh, but he's not putting too much attention to them. It's not, his life doesn't
Doesn't get
depend.
affected that much.
Yeah,
Which I think, in my mind, it's a acting principle and very close to our how you used to study medicine.
yeah,
In medicine, we used to learn the physiology first,
yeah,
and then we used to find out at what stage it goes wrong and how the disease manifests
yeah,
and how we can cure it.
yeah,
So here again, I come back to have a mental picture of how it is. You know how I am. So
yeah,
I have to have that conceptual mental picture. So previously I talked about the cycle of from sense object to our final action.
yeah,
So I quickly recollect there are objects which are perceived by the sense.
yeah,
So this is called sense object. It can be inanimate object, animate object, or an ideology, ideas, anything.
mhm,
That is sensory stimuli takes it through the sense, our five senses, to our mind. At the
yeah,
level of mind is our perception. Perception is composed of past conditioning, our ego, our desire. At mind level, there is another thing, which is our trait,
Yeah.
the three traits, sattva, raja, tamas.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there is the efferent stimuli, the other stimuli that is going out to our organs of action, and the action happens. Above the mind, however, there is a discriminating mind, okay,
Yeah.
which filters our thought process. Now, so this is the physiology, how and where we can block it and how we do it. First, let us take up sense object, which is the first stage. We know how we can remove the attachment from the sense object because these are all made of natural elements. So they are asat, they are impermanent.
So
That's
can you
one.
give an example here? I mean, give me a sense object.
Let's say that we see a very nice car.
Yeah.
We want to have it.
Mhm.
Okay. But that same beautiful car, after 15 years, it rusts, it causes problem with his machine, and you are ready to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So it is not a permanent source, or it's not a source of permanent happiness.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, same thing about any ideology, same thing about any individual. Okay. All these things. Now, then there are senses that is carrying these impulses.
Yeah.
So we have to control the senses too.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we go to the mind level. In the mind, we have to get rid of the past conditioning.
Yeah.
Okay. And then control also our ego desire complex.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there is on the other side is our traits. We have to identify which trait is predominating at the time of action and what are its good effects and bad effects. Now, this kind of judgment is done by something above the mind, which is called discriminating mind or buddhi.
Yeah.
After this filtered thought comes in, then through our organs of action, we turn into action. Also, at the level of our discriminative intelligence or buddhi, we also have to understand who am I first, okay? And what is our innate nature? That is, we are a spark of Brahman, that is the Atman, that is our true identity. Now, I talked about this whole cycle and how we can put the blocks on each steps, and then our actions become more benevolent and fruitful.
Yeah. So
And it does.
I understand the whole concept, right? Krishna is saying that sometimes, even though you understand it, you may behave out of momentum, differently.
Exactly.
So that is when he's saying, do this dhyan, the way
Yes.
he's saying, and practice that so that what you are saying, conditioning, what I am saying, momentum, you can visualize that, the whole scene
Exactly.
rather than just be theoretical. So it's like
Yes.
from learning the anatomy, physiology, and surgery from books to the going and doing it. So I think he's saying that to do that, and I can definitely vouch that yes, there is progress when you do that. The progress in the
Sure.
sense that you start seeing those things, dhyato vishayan punsha, as I said in the beginning, that now every thought that comes to me, there is a little gap now where I can say, or do I want to carry on with this thought, or do I want to drop this thought?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. It is basically filtering of the thoughts.
yeah, it is basically filtering of the thoughts. But when that thought becomes attachment and calm, I mean, desire, we don't have that gap because we don't pay attention to that. Once you pay attention, then you can see step by step. And if you
Of
can,
course.
it's like I always tell this, and feel it as well. I was playing tennis with you, and you were hitting your kind of forehand shot, and it went past me. I didn't even see it. But slowly and slowly, as with practice, I was able to see it and time it and return it. So it's like in our daily life, these things just happen. We just know that we like that car. We don't see that the thought came, oh, that's the car, nice car. Then, oh, I can have that car. I can afford that car. All these things, steps happened without us even recognizing it. So I think once we recognize it, then, as you said, block it or drop it. You can do. I mean,
Uh,
blocking. I would rather
and
drop it.
that discrimination comes from awareness.
Awareness. The more you are aware,
That's
the
right.
more you can see the tennis ball.
Exactly.
The same way, the more you are aware, the more you can see all these, step by step.
You become
But
aware and you practice that. That's all.
yeah.
So
So here comes your point, the verse 27. And Prashanta manasam yenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upayati shantarajasam brahma bhutam kalmasham. So here comes so of the three attributes that you said, Krishna is talking about rajas. Because you remember last time we talked, rajas is a force. Tamas is a weight, dead weight. And sattva is a bright light, illuminates you. So sattva
that's
is,
a very nice way to put it. That's a
yeah.
very nice way to put it. Yes.
So this rajas is the force. So shanta rajasam. So he's saying, for that period of time, upayati shanta rajasam. And so, it fits in exactly what you were talking about, you have to be aware of the attributes as well, and especially this rajas, because rajas is the one which is kind of, kind of keeping you on your toes.
It not only on your toes, it sometimes makes you cry too,
Makes
because
you
what
cry.
happens, yeah, because what happens, the Rajas is all the time go, 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 go.
Yeah,
Okay. Doesn't know when to calm your mind and think through.
yeah.
So calming your mind and think through, and then having the full energy to work is wonderful. But in Rogers, it is only work, desire, ego, all these things, but doesn't step back to think through clearly. And there
Not
lies the
supposed to. It's not supposed to.
yes.
I mean, you
I
have to
mean,
be aware of what rajas does, then
that's
only you
right.
can chant it.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
that is
so
its nature, right? That's
that's
what
right. The-
Prakriti brought it so that things happen in this world.
yes. And earlier we did talk about these. These are the three attributes of anything made of Prakriti.
Yeah,
Or the nature, natural elements. We did talk about that.
yeah. So now in the next few verses, he takes people to not just know inside what is there, like how do you perceive the universe? Like, I will come to that 32, which is an amazing one, but he says that everything you see, think of, Brahman being there, think of Krishna being there, Shyam being there, So you started with Dhyan, and going inside and Shant Rajas and talk about, man control and Indriya control. But now he's talking to the highest level, that now
That is, that
you're
one is
going,
29 when he says that you start seeing me in everything.
yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here,
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
that's right.
Those who see me everywhere. Sarvacha mai pashyati. And they see me everywhere. Tasyaham na pranashyami. Sacha me pranashyati. It's like, I'll read the Hindi translation. जो पुरुष संपूर्ण भूतों में सबके आत्मरूप मुझ वासुदेव को ही व्यापक देखता है, और संपूर्ण भूतों को मुझ वासुदेव के अंतर्गत देखता है. So they see everywhere, and inside Paramatma they see the whole, creation. It's both ways, and for them I'm, they can see me, they know me.
This is the verse which really is summarized in two of the Mahavakyas.
Yeah.
Actually,
Aham
three of them.
Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi,
Yeah.
Tattam Tattamasi,
Yeah.
that one, and Sarvamidam Khalu Brahmanam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Can
So,
you explain those,
okay. I am that. Okay.
that is the
Tatta
tattva.
Tattamasi. Okay. I am that. When you understand our Atman is a part of Brahman, okay, part of this universal life energy, then we realized our soul or our self is the same as the Brahman. It has the same attribute. Only thing, it's just a spark within us of that vast energy field in the universe.
Yeah.
In the same way, it is Aham Brahmasmi. I am a part of that Brahman. I'd
I
like
am the
to
universe. That is what the real translation is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say I am Brahman, but I think.
No, I am Brahman. That is what it says. Aham Brahmasmi.
And the third one is Sarvamidam Khalu Brahmanam. So in everything, it is all Brahman. And we saw that in verse Brahmarpanam Brahma, Havir Brahmagnu Brahmana Bhutam.
Yeah.
Now, these three great saying is summarized or explained in this verse 29.
Yeah.
I would like to at this point mention two verses from Isha
It's
Upanishad.
actually verse 30, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to recite two verses from Isha Upanishad. And this is a very, very nice one.
Yeah.
Yasmin sarvani bhutani
Yeah.
atmannaiva anupashyate sarvabhuteshu chatmanam yato na bijugupsate. If I can see my soul or myself and yourself came from the same source, if I can see that, how can I hide myself from you or bear any ill will towards you? Okay. The second verse of Isha Upanishad following this one is Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmannaiva vijanatah tatra ka moha ka shokam ekattam anupashyate. Okay. Once we know that the soul within me, the soul within you came from same source, once I know this knowledge, then all this attachment, the excitement of happiness and the sorrow appear same and transient. These are beautiful verses.
Yeah. And they're very relatable.
Very much related to when I read this particular verse, I immediately went back to Upanishad. And that has been my favorite. Those are my favorite verses from Isha Upanishad anyway.
So that brings us to the 32. That's the last one we will be doing today. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna. This sambhav again comes here. Sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mata. So those who see some everywhere, that's the, superior yogi. There is a judgment here, paramos mata, in his mind. So that's these are kind of deep thoughts. But the whole point here is that, to me, is that Dhyan, Dhyan to Shyam, as I said. This meditation process that he mentions. So before that he describes, after that he takes a notch higher. And soon we will be getting good questions from Arjun, right?
Yeah. One quick thing, some people call this chapter as Dhyana Yoga.
Yeah.
and some people call it Atma Samyog Yoga.
Well, the actual word here is Atma Sangyam,
Yeah.
yoga,
So and
self-control.
because the is a self-control, so I am immediately attracted towards it because it puts you in a very disciplined way.
Yeah,
That's
this
why I
is,
love it.
yeah, no, self-control. And there is a lot of self-control talk in Gita,
Yes.
because, it's like, or you go to Patanjali Yoga Sutram, that is the first slok is about discipline, right? So
Yes. Actually,
Yoga Anushasana.
Dhammapada's first verse is also the same thing.
Yeah.
All
Dhamma's
actions.
first one is about thought, right?
Yes.
Not discipline. Yeah.
No, it does say that all actions are born of thought. Therefore, purify your thoughts.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like
And the following verse says that if you don't, it is like a animal ox-drawn cart, and the oxes will take you take you in a wrong path.
युयुत्सवः मामकः